Right. All right, boys and girls, we're back with another student interview. We have who might be the chillest member of Artisan Lab. I think your success has been largely dependent on the fact that you're just a fucking chill guy.
Oh,
Um,
100%, bro. I've never in my life ever sent a piece of outreach out in my life.
It's
It's crazy.
awesome, bro. So I'm excited to jump in. I think you're a good case study because you had an existing skill set in sales and you're already making some money in sales. And then
Yeah.
for you to transition over to the info product agency side, it was just a matter of expanding that offer.
Yeah.
So for everybody watching, you mind giving some context on like where you started when you joined Artisan Lab 3 months ago and then what you've done since then?
Yeah, 100%. So got in with Artisan Lab 2.5, 3 months ago. Essentially been in kind of the sales space for a little over a year and got to the point to where I hit my ceiling with that. And I was like, all right, how can I take this skill and use it to break the ceiling and make more money? Came across you and the whole kind of info growth operating type of stuff. And I was like, okay, I have one skill set down. Now I just need to learn the other skill sets. 2.5, 3 months ago, joined Artisan Lab, learned everything that happens inside of a business, outside of a business, how to make other people more money. And last month of December, I did just over 27 G's. So
Fucking awesome, bro.
crazy, bro.
It's
It's
so
crazy.
sick. And you were at what, like 10 to 15K a month closing?
With closing, I was doing like 10 to 15. Yeah.
That's awesome. So once you hopped in and you kind of got a better grasp of just info products in general and like everything that happens before hopping on a sales call. I
Yeah.
remember you started to get clients like within week one, or like maybe I think you sent a testimonial in there and you got a client after like 48 hours after joining or something crazy.
It wasn't even. I literally, because I joined and I was like, what do I do? And you were like, you're never gonna feel ready. You were like, start outreach now. And I was like, all right, I'm going into it completely blind. I sent a text to one of the other people that I was doing sales for. Sent a text to three of them, and one of them got back to me in like probably 24 hours, bro. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh shit, I didn't know what to pitch him. I didn't know nothing, bro. And that was, yeah, first client I snagged literally a
That's
day after
awesome.
joining.
And you're like, fuck, I got a client now. Let me figure out how to fulfill.
Dude, I was blown up. I was like, how do I find the leaks in this guy's business? And you were like, just go with the flow, bro. Understand what services you can offer. And I was like, all right, bet. So,
Yeah. So where'd you go from there? Because I remember you wrote that VSL script that was really solid.
yeah.
Um, and as far as like scaling with that first client, how'd you go about that?
So all he really needed was kind of a funnel to be built out. Like I said, when I got on the call with him, I didn't know what I was going to pitch him. Like I knew the skills that I've learned through Artisan Lab, like what's in there. I didn't even have time to go through the program or anything. I just saw a highlight VSL, funnel build out, sales page, things of that nature. And I was like, bro, you need a VSL. You're losing out on a lot of people just having a type form. Let me build you out a funnel for a VSL. And so I built that out from him and just collected an easy $1,000, but then a great case study to go with that of like, hey, I got so and so these numbers, blah, blah, blah. So with him, it was just kind of a one-time build out fee to do that VSL for him.
Yeah. How was that transition for you going from just sales to then writing copy and scripting a VSL? Was that difficult?
Um, kind of, just because like with sales, I do copywriting, but with my mouth, essentially. Like it's the
Exactly.
same idea. So I understand the concept of what goes into copy. So essentially all I did is use the frameworks that you give us and then inputted the client's information into there and read it through my head of like, is this what stuff like stuff I would say on a sales call? And it
Yeah.
looked good and sent it to him. We were working on the video. Like I ran role play of him saying it to me just to see how it sounds coming from him. And yeah, it was a hit, bro. Like that one VSL alone in the first month, it brought him like an additional probably 50 G's. It was crazy
Wow.
because he had all the presents and
Hmm.
he sent it to his free school community and it popped off. He popped like 10 extra clients his first month from it.
That's awesome, bro. And I always say good copy is just like a written sales call. And instead of having somebody on the call who is giving
Yeah,
you objections, you just have to handle them in the copy. So it's the same
exactly.
concept, just writing it down.
Right. Yeah. Like even the pitch, like when I was doing sales, I'd always script out pitches. So it was like I was already doing copywriting for my own sales pitches essentially.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But
So once you got that first bit of experience, how'd you go about getting your next couple clients and hitting that $27 to 27K per month mark?
yeah. So the next client after that was a referral from him. My first client, it was a referral. One of his boys hit him up. It was a fitness guy, and he was like, "Hey, I saw that you just got this funnel built out. How'd you do that?" And he's like, "I actually had a guy do it for me." So I snagged him, and I'm kind of doing everything for him. So managing the sales team, doing the operational side of things, helping him out with the marketing side of things. My next client. I'm partnered up with some other guys to have gotten them where I'm doing more like the operational management. I'm helping them build out the SOPs and stuff for the sales team, but they kind of do the sales management. So knew those people. And then the third client that I have was another referral from the fitness client. So everything is just kind of been
Wow,
snowballing referral effect, knowing the right people, being plugged into the right network essentially.
that's awesome. And are you just charging rev share or do you have retainers as well? How's the pricing side of it work?
Just rev share with those clients. And yeah, one of them I'm getting 40% of the whole business to do management, operations, and marketing, essentially making him all the money where all he needs to do is post videos, essentially.
Yep,
But
fire.
yeah.
So as far as scaling right now, are you trying to get more clients or are you mainly just focusing on scaling with your current clients?
I think because as I see it, bro, I think a big problem that people have is they try to get too many clients and make like 3K a month from each client.
Yeah,
That's not my focus, right? With like rev share deals and things of that nature. I mean, you've probably had a point where like you had 8 or 9 clients and made the most money from 2 of them.
exactly.
Like that's my focus is I have 3 really good clients, some big name people in the spaces, millions of followers. If I just dial in the processes with these 3 clients, all 3 of them can easily be making multi 7 figures a month, and I'll be racking in the cash. So my
Yeah,
focus is just being in an external part of their business and growing their whole business. And all I'm gonna need is 3,
yeah.
essentially.
And the biggest thing is identifying those ideal clients and, not
Exactly.
wasting your time working with somebody who just doesn't have a good offer, doesn't have a social media presence. Like you've done a really
Right.
good job of finding 3 ideal clients that can actually scale and you can get them to multi 6 figures and even 7 figures a month. And then
Yeah.
you're able to make, 10K plus per client.
Oh, 100%. Way more than 10K eventually too.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah. Awesome. So on the copy side and like writing VSLs for your current clients and on the email marketing, how have you gone about just learning that side of it? And I know you brought on some team members to help you with that. What's
Yep.
that?
Yeah, so I'm a big advocate of like understanding all the parts of the business. Like I want to understand copy so I know what goes into it, but I also know that my thing is sales, right? I'm a killer sales rep. For me to become a killer at copy, it would take time. And I like to be quick. So my ideology was like, okay, I have connections to copywriters that are a million times better than me. I hire them where I'm essentially the brains of it. I'm like, this is the system we're gonna follow. This is the funnel we're gonna build out. These are the kind of emails. I want you guys to do the writing for me because they're just so much better, right? So
Mhm.
essentially, what I'm doing now is like just a bunch of management stuff. Like I do the operations, I set up all the finicky stuff. But then when it comes to the copy skills, I have people that do that for me. I'm training killer sales reps to take the sales call for me, where I'm just kind of the overarching person to make sure everything's running smoothly and kind of be the brains behind everything.
Hmm. That's fire. That's a good position to reach, and you've done it really quickly, which is dope to see. Um,
Yeah.
to scale with your current clients, what do you think the key levers are that you're going to have to kind of move past and break through bottlenecks to be able to get to the numbers that you want to hit?
It's honestly just a big thing's going with the flow, right? Every single day, as more and more money is being made, the leaks in the business become much more clear. And it's just going about finding proper systems to input to patching those leaks, right? Like everyone that has money, we are getting some type of money out of them, whether it's a $97 product or a $15,000 product. You get
Hmm.
them with the 97, they get a ton of value. And then a month later, you pitch them on the 5K, they get a ton of value. Just work them up the value ladder. And so it's really about creating value ladders and creating systems that partake for each individual certain like position that they're in, and then guiding them to the higher and higher amounts. It's all an upsell game, essentially. Like
Yep.
you master upsells and you make a ton of money from it.
Yep, exactly, bro. What do you think's been the biggest contribution to your quick success?
It's honestly understanding what it takes to run a business, right? Like I knew how to do sales before, but all I knew was sales. I didn't know, like until I joined the Artisan Lab, I didn't know what it takes to all the pieces that go into info, right? Like the operation, setting up CRM, setting up Zapier, setting up funnels, ads, all of that stuff. So now I know the skills to make other people a ton of money. And if I can make other people a ton of money, all I want is my portion of the pie to to get a ton of money for myself, right? It's a win-win because my salespeople make money, which I then make money, which my clients then make money. So everyone's winning. And that was the biggest thing is understanding what it takes to fully run a business and then just setting up the right systems and SOPs and everything to input into someone else's business to where now that I have it created, if I wanted to bring on more clients, I literally can copy what I've already done and just tailor it to their niche and scale infinitely, you know?
Yep, exactly, man. As far as scaling inside of your own business, what are your plans to obviously scaling with your clients is priority number one and making them more
Yeah,
money because when that comes back to you. But outside of that, like when you are starting to hit different, like let's say you get to 50K a month, do you
yeah.
think your current team and like the way that you're operating it right now will allow you to get to those numbers?
Obviously, it's gonna take probably a little more. So like my vision, like I'm very cool with, I want to make sure all my team members are being paid very nicely, right?
Yep.
So for the sales team, as an example, I get to a point to where people come in, they start as a setter, and then they move to a closer. And then as we're scaling with them, they get moved to a management position where they're now getting rev share. They split it with me to manage their sales team. Like they now have closers and setters under them that they manage, and I help them manage it. So it's essentially making duplicates of myself, right? Having
Mhm.
my team members become their own entrepreneurs inside of my business so that they can do things how they want to do, get their rev share from it, which then allows me to free up my time because I have people running the sales division. I'm going to have people running the marketing division, people running the treasury division, like all these different divisions that I want to build out and have like people at the top of each division getting rev share of the money that they make so that everyone's eating, right? Like I
Yep.
essentially help everyone create their own small sector, like their own business inside of my company so that everyone's making a boatload of money together, essentially.
Yep. Almost like a licensing model where you can just take your team and their existing roles, and as you get a new client, you just plug them into the same system.
Exactly. And it's like, right, like with one of my clients, right? As if one right now I'm managing two closers and like four setters. Eventually I can bring on a manager, like the best closer to manage that team. So then I can focus on bringing in another team, another two closers and four setters under that, put another manager for that. So there's a bunch of sales teams inside of one client's kind of whole overarching sales team. And that's how you scale, just more people, but I can't handle everyone myself, which is why I need to bring on people to help me do some of that.
Yep. More of a psychological question for you. Why do you think you were able to not overthink and you were able to just dive in and be like, okay, I'm going to go get a client and I know I'll be able to figure this out on the fly, and you've done a good job
Yeah.
of keeping it down.
My allergy is like, what's the worst that happens? Okay, the worst that happens is I get a client, I suck, and I do everything terribly and I lose out on that client. Worst case scenario. But
Yep.
what I've learned from that is now what I need to improve upon, what I need to fix. Best case scenario is I'm in the position where I'm in right now where it went really, really well. I'm making a boatload of money. And if it was the opposite, if I just sucked and a month later I got fired from that client, it's one client out of 365 million info coaches, bro. It's not like I can't just go to the next guy and pick it up. So my thing is like, and you told me this, right? Like the videos and everything is cool to understand how to do it, but until you're actually in the game making moves, you don't know what to do essentially. It's just putting yourself into that position, learning on the fly. If all goes to shit, it's not the end of the world. You just get a new client or you make a boatload of money from it and just get better as you're going on with it.
100%. Very well said. Has it been easier than you anticipated?
Um, yes and no, right? Like, and this is just with business in general, right? Like I dropped out of college, similar story to you. And when I dropped out of school, my thing was like, man, I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I want to work on my own schedule, when I want, where I want. And it hit me like a truck that when you're starting out a business, it is a hell of a lot harder than a job, bro. Like for the past 3 months, man, I have been working 9 a.m. till 9 p.m., 12-hour days, 7 days a week to run everything. But that also is why I've seen the numbers that I've seen today. Right. And
Mm,
like you give me another 2, 3 years, if I want to be sipping mimosas on the beach in Cabo whenever I want, I'll absolutely be in that position. But it takes time at the start to put those foundations into play. And I think that's a big thing for everyone to know who wants to get into entrepreneurship is if you're doing it to leave your job to get freedom, there's going to be a long grinding period at the start, which
yep.
doesn't feel like a lot of freedom. It's going to be harder than your job, but eventually you reap the rewards, right? It's the point to where you start to automate and streamline the business that takes time, but then you get to that point and then you just get to live life to the fullest, you know?
Yep. You can't skip the trenches, bro. But
Absolutely
and it
not.
might take a while, but once you go through them, you come out the other side as a completely different person who is actually equipped to make the money that you want to make, and then you
Yeah.
kind of reap the rewards all at once. I think it's really similar to pledging. Like you're gonna go through 3 months where it's just gonna suck. But we had a saying inside of my fraternity that was embrace the suck. And it's the
Yeah.
same shit in online business. Like you have to just
Yeah.
accept, okay, I am gonna be grinding my ass off for some time. I don't know how long this is gonna last, but I
Yeah.
know if I get through this, I will be ready and able to make all of the money that I want.
And it's fun too, because like everyone at the start of entrepreneurship has a ton of motivation. It's kind of like when you get a new girlfriend and you have like this super honeymoon phase at the start and then it fizzles out as it goes on. Entrepreneurship is the same way. You have all this motivation at the start, but things are going to get hard for everyone. I don't care who you are, you're going to have roadblocks. It's going to get difficult. So my ideology was when I joined, I had all of this motivation. So my thing was like, okay, I need to get a client now while this motivation's at its peak. Because if you go a year without seeing any results, that motivation, it gets hard to stick around. But then my
Mhm.
thing's like, okay, I got a client now. If the motivation fizzles, but now it's like I'm seeing the money that can be made. So now it's like a game to me. Like my
Yep.
motivation is seeing how I can improve upon this game to just take them from $100,000 a month to 250 a month to 500 to 1 million to 10 million. Right?
Yep.
Like getting that first client is huge motivation because then you're in the game. You're a player And now it's much more clear on what you need to do for each step of the process.
Dean, bro, you gotta start a personal brand. I'm just thinking about this right now as you're talking, and maybe once you have some more time, you should do it.
Yeah.
But like, I can totally see that for you, where you start building up your personal brand, and then 6 months from now, you have an audience and you already know all of the back end of info products and how to
Yeah.
run a coaching business. Boom, you start sales coaching because you have experience in sales. And
Yeah.
that's probably down the line for you, but I think you could crush with that.
It's crazy, bro. So many people tell me to get into content, into personal branding. One of my clients, when I was doing like sales stuff, I actually flew out to visit them because I was the top closer. And we were just filming content. And the whole time, she was like, bro, you need to start a personal brand. Like, I'm not glazing or nothing, but it was so fun, bro. Just the ideas of personal branding, things of that nature.
Yeah.
Definitely want to start in the future to come for sure.
Totally. And it'd be easy for you to make one or two TikToks and Instagram reels a day where you just talk to the camera and like you're charismatic, you'd get it over
Yeah.
time. Obviously, it's hard at first. You're like, what do I even say? But once you get into the flow of things, you'd grow really quickly. Um,
Yeah.
Last thing for you, for anybody who is in sales and is kind of at a similar point that you were at, where they feel like they hit an income ceiling, what advice would you give to them to break through that and kind of start their own thing?
Yeah. I mean, there's a ton of different ways to go about it. Like with anything, you learn a skill and you can use that skill everywhere, right? Yours was copywriting, right? You went from writing emails to VSLs to growth operating. Mine
Yep.
is sales, right? I went from being good at sales to then learning how to use my skill of sales and scale it through other things. I got into the growth operating. I think the growth operating side of things is a great place to go for sales reps because a big part of info is the sales team. Like we said it all the time. The marketing, the operations can be in place, but none of it means anything if the sales team is not in place. So big thing is learn how to manage people, right? Learn how to be a leader and manage other people. And then you can take that skills, you can start to build out sales teams, manage the sales teams, learn what goes into running a business as well, like the marketing and the operational side of things. Once you have that concept, sales, marketing, and operations, it doesn't even have to be info. Like you can take that skill
Yep.
set and go anywhere. Right? Like I know some people and they're getting into it with like the e-commerce space, right? Like you see it all over. All the new influencers, they're all running e-com brands now, right? You got Iman who's running the big day drinks, and
Yep.
Alexander, he's starting up his new e-com store. You got the Jake Paul brothers who started their energy drink. You can take the same skills that you're learning in the Artisan Lab of operations and marketing, and you can take that to e-commerce, you could take that to info, you could take that to corporate. It doesn't matter. Once you have those skills of running a business, you pick the niche at the end of the day. You know how to make other people money and you just get your fair share of it.
100%, bro. I always say like your skill set and your network offer you the safety net and the backup plan that a degree was supposed to. Like you think getting a degree will give you this job security when in reality, if you have a vast skill set and you
Yeah,
know marketing, you know sales, you know some high value skill really well, and then you are able to go and make connections and meet people and
yeah.
just kind of get tapped in whatever industry you're in, then you can never go broke. You always have that safety net.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a huge thing, like the networking side of it too, right? Like when we had our one-on-one call, I was telling you about this. I was like, you could lose everything. You could lose all of your clients, you could lose your personal brand. It does not matter. But from the people you've known, you're one text away from knowing the next gold mine market. People I know, right? If I want to get into real estate, I'm one text away from texting a guy that I know into real estate, being like, yo, plug me up with real estate. And that was a thing that was so crazy to me when I joined the Artisan Lab is I have spent so much money on mentorships, on coaching programs. In the past year alone, I've probably dropped 25, 30 G's on mentorship programs.
Yeah,
And part of it is to learn the information that they have to offer. But the other part of it is like, I paid money, now I have connections to you, right? I pay money, now I have 8-figure entrepreneurs contacts in my phone that I can now utilize because I joined their groups. When I joined Artisan Lab, everyone in there is killing it, bro. It's crazy. Like a lot of times when I join other coaching programs, it's like there's a ton of just you have your people that are killing it, but 80% of people are brand new, have no idea what they're doing. They're just starting out. I joined Artisan Lab and I was like the only dude in there that had nothing going on, bro. Like everyone in there is killing it. In the community, if I need help with something, if I need someone to look over my copy, I'm one text away. If I need
yep,
help getting connections to someone, I'm one text away, right? I now have a community of like-minded entrepreneurs who all have different assets of value that we can just utilize each other, put our minds together, and everyone eats at the end of the day.
totally, bro.
It's
This has
huge.
been dope. Thank you for hopping on. I'm super excited to see you scale and get to 50 and 100K a month, and I think
Heck
you'll
yeah.
be able to do it relatively quickly.
Heck yeah.
I'm excited to see the personal brand coming soon because you
Yeah.
got it, bro. You got the elements that you would need to be able to put it together, and then obviously you know the upside of coaching and maybe
100%.
something you can explore within the next year as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Good
100%.
man. Thank you, brother.
Of course.